guys, this is Zara for Trans Youth, of course, as always. So this week's topic is gender-neutral pronouns, and we should all know what that means. So that's stuff like they, them, their, rather than his, hers, he, she, all that stuff. And basically discuss that. How do we feel about those? So I personally I don't use a gender neutral pronoun, and I never did, to be honest. And I don't even remember, maybe it has happened at some point, but I don't remember anybody referring to me in a gender neutral way. It might have happened at some point, but nothing that comes to mind. Well, before I transitioned, they would have said he, of course. But then right off from the time my transition started, I wanted she and her and Zara. Well, I mean, I didn't get to the name Zara right away. That took a little bit of time. But that's not the point. So gender-neutral pronouns, they work for some people because not everybody feels like they are really like 100% one gender or the other. Now, there are trans people who identify more as male, but don't really, I don't know, see themselves male the same way that other males are. You know what I'm trying to say. So it's this whole spectrum, right? And there are people all over it. I went from this end over here to this end over here, and I mean, even when I was on this end, I knew I wanted to be on this end. But then I went to this end, female, and never looked back. But other people have a harder time with it. Gender-neutral pronouns come in really handy. For example, if you're someone who has to deal with perhaps the trans community on a regular basis, and sometimes you're unsure whether somebody would rather be referred to as male or female, that is where you would want to say they, for example, at least until somebody says, "Hi, my name is Bob, I'm a trans man, and I go by these pronouns." Yeah, some people prefer the gender-neutral pronouns because they're still on the fence about what they want to be. Or they feel like they are a mixture of the two, or all kinds of variations. There are all sorts of variations on really the trans, or the LGBT community as a whole, more like it, but there are people who, and I've met all kinds of these people who feel like they are one gender one day and another gender the next. So, I mean, that's when ones like that come in handy, when the theys and theirs and all that stuff comes in handy. As I said, I never use them myself. I am female, 100%. And I'm not going to get mad at somebody if they call me they or anything, but I definitely prefer she. You know what, I do remember times, though. I don't remember being called they ever, to my recollection. It might have, as I said, it might have happened, but not that I remember. But there have been times where somebody would misgender me, and in those situations, I definitely would have preferred a they to being called a he when I'm clearly not a he. That hasn't happened recently, but still, And when something like that happens, it can really hurt. Like, for example, if you're out and you're wearing makeup and heels and a dress and all that stuff, and somebody says, "Hello, sir, good day." It's like, are you stupid? Do I look like a sir to you? No, dumbass. And I mean, I know I don't know. Whether they're trying to be polite or not, people need to put a bit more thought into it, and that's the issue that a lot of people have, is they don't even think about it. Because most people don't have to deal with this stuff, right? Most people don't deal with the trans community. Everybody they know is male over there, female over there. And there's really no crossing in between. Maybe the one gay friend over there somewhere. But that's really the most experience that a lot of these people get, right? And so they come across a trans person, and perhaps they're not so far along in their transition, something like that, and they really don't, like, perhaps to them they see somebody who in their eyes appears to be more male, but clearly is trying not to be male, doesn't want to be male, wants to be something else. Whether it's a they or she or whatever, it's not a he. And I shouldn't be saying it, sorry about that, but that they're not a he, that's the point. Yeah. So they can be really good in that sense. And yeah, people should know to use them. And yeah, that's why I wish sexual education courses in school had more information on this kind of stuff. But I can tell you from my own experience, when I was in high school, how many years ago would that be now? 6 years ago when I graduated high school? Holy shit, has it been 6 years? Anyway, that long since I've graduated high school. I can remember in my own sex ed classes in school, there was no information about LGBT anything. And that would really be helpful to people in that sense. It would help society as a whole, especially the LGBT community, because then we wouldn't have to deal with these situations as much. Like it's really hard to know what to do when you do get mislabeled as a gender that you're clearly not. It's like, do I ignore it? Do I freak out on this person? Do I kindly explain, yeah, I'm not a dude. So don't call me he. It's, that sounds good in theory, but it's really not that easy when it happens. And I can tell you that from my own experience. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. They're wonderful. That's my opinion about them. And they can be really helpful to everybody. Especially to people who are kind of all over the spectrum that is the LGBT community, specifically the trans community. Yeah, so this is Zara for Trans Youth. Yeah. Love you guys, and comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. This week's topic is about advocacy. Big word. And so what I mean by that is, why did I decide to do what I'm doing with trans youth? Why did I decide to become a activist for the trans community?